In this video, let's take a deep look at the character of Terra, specifically her version from the Teen Titans series. Her story is one of betrayal, redemption, and a lot of inner conflict, so it's definitely worth exploring in detail. Her real name is Terra Markov. She's a young girl who was born with a metahuman ability that allows her to control and manipulate the Earth around her. There's no doubt about it, she's incredibly powerful. But with great power comes great difficulty. Her abilities were extremely hard for her to control, and this struggle had a big impact on her life. Because of her unstable powers, she felt isolated and misunderstood from a very young age. What's interesting about her backstory, depending on the version, is how her powers came to be. In some versions, her powers were a result of experiments done on her, while in others, they were natural abilities that simply emerged as she grew older. Both versions show how she's always had this incredible power, but neither of them were able to fully prepare her for the struggles that would follow. Her backstory is honestly pretty heartbreaking. Terra's inability to control her powers led to a lot of destruction in her hometown, and this not only caused damage to the place she grew up but also severely strained her relationship with her family. This breakdown in her personal life pushed her to become a wanderer. Terra was always searching for somewhere to belong, but she was haunted by the fear of being rejected, especially since she couldn't control her powers. As a result, she spent a lot of time alone, constantly battling the fear that her uncontrollable abilities would drive people away. She felt like an outcast who desperately longed for acceptance, but at the same time, she feared that if she let anyone get too close, they would see her as a threat. When the Teen Titans first meet her, they're immediately impressed by her abilities. Her power to control the Earth is something they've never seen before, and it's clear she's an incredibly strong asset. Among them, Beast Boy takes a particular liking to her right away. He sees something in her that draws him in, and he's eager to get to know her better. Terra, however, is in a very different place emotionally. Having spent so much of her life feeling alone and rejected, she's extremely guarded. Her isolation has made her hesitant to trust anyone, and she's not quick to open up to the team, no matter how friendly they are. At first, Terra keeps her distance. She's unsure of the Titans' intentions and doesn't want to get too close, fearing that it might just lead to more disappointment and rejection. But over time, as she spends more time with them, something changes. She starts to bond with the team, especially Beast Boy, who really sees her for who she is. He understands her in a way that nobody else seems to, and he treats her with the kindness and acceptance that she's never really experienced before. It's not just his ability to make her laugh or lighten the mood. Beast Boy seems to genuinely care about her, and that connection starts to mean a lot to Terra. Despite this growing bond, she still struggles with her inner demons. Her insecurities about her powers weigh heavily on her. She's scared that she's too dangerous, that she might hurt someone or lose control again. The fear of being a liability to the team constantly lurks in the back of her mind. She is also terrified that if the Titans find out the full extent of her powers, particularly the secret that she's been hiding, they'll turn their backs on her, just like others have in the past. She feels like she's always walking a fine line between being accepted and being cast out. This fear creates a wall between her and the Titans, one that she can't seem to break down. Even though she's starting to open up, the pressure of hiding her secret, combined with her doubts about her own worth, makes her pull away. Everything in her life took a major turn when she met Slade, the main villain of the series. Slade recognized right away just how powerful Terra was, and instead of seeing her as an ally, he saw her as a way to further his own agenda. He didn't try to convince her with brute force or threats. He took a much subtler approach. Slade knew that Terra was struggling with her insecurities, especially her fear of not being good enough or ever being truly accepted. So, he preyed on these weaknesses, promising her that he could teach her how to control her powers and, most importantly, that he could give her the acceptance she longed for. At that point in her life, Terra was desperate. She had spent so long feeling isolated and unsure of herself that the idea of finally being able to control her powers and find a place where she belonged was almost too tempting to resist. Slade's words gave her hope, and she was vulnerable enough to fall for his manipulation. The promise of validation and control was just what she needed, and it clouded her judgment. Over time, she found herself becoming Slade's apprentice, despite still having doubts about the decision. It wasn't long before she made a heartbreaking choice. She betrayed the Teen Titans. Under Slade's direction, she infiltrated their team, pretending to be a loyal ally while secretly spying on them. Terra provided Slade with critical information about the Titans' headquarters, their weaknesses, and even their strategies. All the trust the team had placed in her was shattered as she handed over secrets that would ultimately lead to devastating attacks on the Titans. This betrayal was especially painful for Beast Boy. He had developed deep feelings for Terra and trusted her completely. To him, Terra wasn't just another member of the team. She was someone he cared about, someone he believed in. So when he found out about her betrayal, it hit him harder than anyone could have imagined. He felt utterly devastated, not just because the team was in danger, but because the person he had trusted most had turned her back on them. As Terra continued to play her part in Slade's plans, the inner conflict inside her grew stronger with each passing day. She had always longed for acceptance, to finally feel like she belonged, and she had hoped that aligning with Slade would give her the control over her powers that she desperately wanted. But as she carried out his orders, the guilt began to weigh on her heavily. She realized more and more that by following Slade, she was hurting the very people who had once cared for her, especially Beast Boy, the one person who had shown her kindness and friendship when she felt like an outcast. Terra knew she was betraying the trust they had placed in her, and the guilt of it all started to eat away at her, but at the same time, she felt trapped. Slade had a hold on her, and no matter how hard she tried, she couldn't seem to break free from his grip. Slade wasn't just manipulating her emotionally, he was using physical control as well. He had installed a device that allowed him to command Terra's actions directly. No matter how much she struggled inside, her body would obey Slade's every command. He had stripped away her autonomy, and this made her feel even more like a puppet, unable to make her own choices. The more Terra became aware of how completely he controlled her, the more she resented herself and the situation she was in. But despite all of this, the fear of being alone, the fear of being rejected again, kept her tied to Slade's side. However, there was one person who refused to give up on her, Beast Boy. He could see the struggle within her, and he believed deep down that there was still a way to reach the Terra he had once known. He confronted her, heartbroken but determined, pleading with her to remember who she was, to remember the bond they had shared. In that moment, his words reached Terra in a way that nothing else had. He reminded her of her humanity, of the kindness she was capable of, and of the love she had once felt for the Titans. His plea touched something deep within her, something she had buried beneath the pain and the betrayal. In a rare moment of courage and selflessness, she made the choice to break free from his grasp. Terra turned against Slade, using her powers to stop his plans and protect the people she had once called friends. But the cost of her decision was immense. In order to defeat Slade and save the city, Terra unleashed the full extent of her powers she had never fully mastered before. The earth trembled beneath her as she pushed herself to the limit, causing a volcanic eruption that ultimately led to her own downfall. In the final moments of her life, she gave everything she had to stop Slade and save the Titans and the city from certain destruction. The eruption was so powerful that it petrified her in place, turning her into a statue, forever frozen in time as a symbol of her ultimate sacrifice. In the series finale, things take a very interesting turn for Beast Boy, who encounters a girl at a local school who looks exactly like Terra. At first, this seems almost too good to be true, a chance to reconnect with the girl he cared for and lost. But there's something different about this girl. While she has the same appearance as Terra, she has no memory of her past or the powers she once had. Beast Boy, driven by hope and the memories of their time together, tries to approach her, hoping to bring back the connection they once shared. However, the girl insists that she's just a normal person now, with no powers and no past connection to the Titans. She just wants to move on with her life, leaving Beast Boy heartbroken and confused. The series leaves her fate open to interpretation, adding an extra layer of complexity to her character and her journey. Her story reflects feelings that we all experience at some point in our lives: fear of rejection, the weight of guilt, the longing to be loved, and the desire to belong somewhere. Her journey is full of mistakes and moments of vulnerability, but it's also a story of growth and redemption. Ultimately, it's this complexity that makes Terra such a powerful and tragic character.